Summary of a series of talks given in Madras by Krishnaji under the title The Observer is the Observed. He says there is a difference between the human being and the individual. The individual is a local entity living in a particular area, culture, society, religion. But the human being is everywhere. The whole history of man is written in us, and the individual is the result of this total experience, knowledge, and conduct. If you observe very closely what is taking place, then maybe you can easily, spontaneously transform yourself. When you reject all authority, when you reject something which you have accepted for generations and throw off all this burden, you have more energy. And this energy itself is the mutation. We need a tremendous amount of energy, but we dissipate it through fear. It is necessary to observe what is happening in relationship, because all life is relationship. It's no use sitting in a corner and meditating upon myself. Each of us has an image of what we think we are or what we should be. And that image, that picture, prevents us from seeing ourselves as we actually are. The only way to look at yourself is totally, immediately, what you see in totality is the truth. When you give your whole attention, your whole being, everything of yourself, complete self-abandonment, there is no room for fear. Verbally, we can go only so far. What lies beyond cannot be put into words. What will open the door is daily awareness and attention. Pleasure is the structure of society from childhood until death. We are secretly, cunningly, or obviously are pursuing pleasure, whatever form of pleasure it is. Pleasure or delight, which is an experience of something beautiful, is given continuity when thought steps in and says, I must have it again. So thought turns pleasure into a memory, and then memory is nourished by thinking about it over and over again. But if you respond wholly, then there is no such memory, and therefore there is never any pursuit, and experience is always new. So can you experience anything so that there is no feeling that it should be repeated? Living in the present is the instant perception of beauty and the great delight in it without seeking pleasure from it. Our fundamental lasting interest in life is really my progress, my job, my family. It is craving for position, for prestige, for power to be recognized as outstanding. You wish to dominate others. The movement from certainty to uncertainty is what could be called fear. We are afraid of changing and be in a state of not knowing. Can you look at that moment without any escape? Can you watch fear without any interference? You have to observe and live with fear all the time. The observer, who is the sensor, does not want fear. He is forever trying to overcome it or escape from it. But if you watch, you can see that the observer is merely a bundle of ideas and memories without any validity or substance. But the fear is an actuality. When you see that you are part of fear and not separate from it, then you cannot do anything about it. Then fear comes totally to an end. Violence is subtle, deep, and we are inquiring to the very depths of violence. When you separate yourself from the rest of mankind by labeling yourself by belief, by nationality, by tradition, that itself breeds violence. So a man seeking to understand violence does not belong to any country, to any religion, to any partial system. He is with a total understanding of mankind. Relationship between human beings is based on image forming, a defensive mechanism. In all our relationship, each one of us builds an image about the other, and these two images have relationship, not the human being themselves. You have created the opposite of what we are by thousands of years of propaganda, created the idol of what is, and yet we have to work towards being that idol. So if you know how to be with what is, then the opposite is not necessary. To care is really to care for what is good for that person with gentleness and tenderness. When you see with your heart, not with your mind, then you have the key that will end sorrow. Without love, there is no meaning in life. When there is love, whatever you do is right. We have lost touch with nature and have come to develop intellectual capacities, read many books, go to museum and concerts, watch television, entertainment, endlessly from other people's ideas, and think a great deal and talk about art. We have lost the capacity to look and listen to nature. It is only when there is no image that we are in direct contact with anything in life. But all our relationships are really based upon image formed by thought. When I say I know you, I mean I knew you yesterday. I do not know you actually now. There is a silence and stillness when there is neither the observer nor the thing observed. And what takes place in that state cannot be put into words. To find out, you have to go through it yourself. Awareness of all this process reveals that there is the central image put together by all images, which is the observer, the sensor, the experience, the evaluators. Therefore, the observer is the observed. It is awareness itself which had revealed this. We are a slave to thought, cunning, clever thought, which can organize, which has invented so much, created fear and anxiety, which is forever making images. We are those books, we are those ideas so heavily conditioned or made by them. We are forever discussing ideas. Every religion has its formula, its own scaffold to reach the gods. In a state of complete attention, the observer comes to an end and thought begins to wither away. Then you will respond to challenge not with an old brain, but totally a new one. In that silence there is clarity, but this is possible only if you have laid the foundation which is free from fear, free from anxiety. Not only must you understand the words that I am using, but be intense at the same time and capable of meeting each other on the same level. And such communication is not possible when you are interpreting what you are reading according to your knowledge. The silence cannot be described because what can be described is the known. The silence is only a small beginning. There is enormous, wide, expansive ocean to the timeless state. You cannot understand verbally unless you have understood the whole structure of consciousness. Then you may come upon that mystery which nobody can reveal to you and nothing can destroy. A living mind is a mind that has no center but with more space and time. Such a mind is limitless, and that is the only truth. That is the only reality. The watching of every thought and every feeling, you begin to understand the whole movement of thought, feeling, and out of this awareness comes silence. When you learn about yourself, what is yourself, there is attention. So this attention can take place wherever you are, whatever you are doing. You can tremendously influence the world if in yourself you are not violent, competitive, ambitious, envious, and lead a life which does not create enmity. In that state of silence, there is energy, an energy in which there is no conflict. That energy is gathered to its highest point when the observer is the observed. Then there will be energy without motive, and it will find its own channel of action, because then the I does not exist, and the feeling I must understand brings about the vitality to find out. So you must leave the window open for the uninvited to come in. When you give your mind and your heart, your whole being to see what actually is and go beyond it, the other comes into being.